It's 5 Thanks here on KC Sports Network. Tucker Franklin hanging out with you. Going to give you 5 perspectives on this Chiefs Ravens AFC heavyweight clash going down at Arrowhead Stadium this Sunday. This show is brought to you by Batch Elder Family Farms. I'm not out there at the farm today. I'll be out there next week. But you guys already know they got the best farm-raised products for you, whether it's eggs, whether it's bacon. You want the beefs? They've got the beefs. I'll be talking about beef of the week later. You can go out to their farm store, 2810 South Prospect Avenue out there in Belton, Missouri. Head out to the farm. Go see Curly. Go see the chickens. Go see all of them out there. They also got the buffalo out there as well. You can go see the bison that they've got roaming around. You can go see Chief and all of his ladies, Chief and the ladies out there at KC Buffalo Co. Go check them out. Batchelder Family Farms. Love those guys. Love Brad and Jenna out there. They do amazing work. If you can't make it out to the farm, they're also at farmers markets as well. The downtown city market farmers market, Overland Park farmers market as well. So if you are in any of those areas, you can't make it out to Belton, but you want to have some of the Batchelder Family Farm raised beef. They got jerky. They've got bison sausage. They got summer sausage. Whatever it is, they'll get you hooked up. We also got the tailgate packs for them over there at Batchelder Family Farms. You can get those tailgate packs there. 10% of the proceeds benefit the KCSN Foundation. So go check those tailgate packs out over there. BatchelderFamilyFarms.com. $100 gets you all kinds of meats, getting you ready and set for a Chiefs home game like there is this week as the Chiefs, like I mentioned, take on the Baltimore Ravens. Let's get this 5 things kicked off. You guys know what we do here. 5 different people giving you 5 different perspectives on this game. Let's lead it off with the boys from the KC Lab. Kent, take it away.
Thanks, Tuck. Kent Swanson and Maddie Lane from the KC Laboratory here getting you ready for Chiefs versus Ravens. Maddie, how are we feeling tonight?
Listen, we're feeling pretty good. The Chiefs are coming off a victory, chance to stack 2 in a row here against a team that they have under, this regime done pretty good against over the past, 5-6 years. So big game this weekend, but you can't be anything but excited if you're a Chiefs fan coming off that last win.
Absolutely. Big win there. And it just kind of feels like the momentum's starting for this team. And we're going to find out, right? Momentum's only as strong as your next opponent. And this is a very tough opponent for the Chiefs to be facing this week. And a very challenging quarterback, too. Lamar Jackson, one of the most dynamic players in the entirety of the National Football League. A player that can beat you with his arm and with his legs. A very elusive quarterback and someone that you have to have a very strong rush plan for, a very disciplined rush plan for. And I think it's funny, Maddie, you, me, Craig, we all had the same thoughts in the same vein when it came to the big question that we had on the show this week. It was about the pass rush and about how you navigate that pass rush, what your plan needs to be, and how important it is to execute that plan when you're facing someone like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and the Detroit Lions just had a lot of success. They sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times, which I believe is the most in his NFL career, and it just quite simply looked like they had a great plan on how to get after him. And so you got to try to figure out kind of what they did and how to replicate it. And Lamar Jackson himself said, and I quote, "They were dropping into coverage. They had 3 safeties back, and I'm not just going to throw a Hail Mary ball. I'm going to try to read out the coverage and then make something happen." And then the Lions came out after the game and talked about how they were having various different players spy Lamar Jackson. So they were playing coverage in the back. They were using a lot of spies up front. And that is nothing new to trying to, play Lamar Jackson. I feel like that's every defense's general plan going into it. It makes the most sense. But I don't think the Detroit Lions plan stopped there. And it's something that I think the Chiefs got to try to do here is, Lamar Jackson's going to escape some of your rushes, whether you want to mush rush and just try to collapse the pocket on him, whether you do want to send a spy, whether you want to stunt or game or whatever, he's going to escape a lot of this pressure. You have to have a plan for when he escapes. And I think what the Lions did was they were forcing him to escape into their help. So when they did have a spy, they weren't trying to have him play the whole field. He was playing just one half of the field, and they were forcing Lamar to try to escape that direction. When they did twist, they were making Lamar Jackson escape to where the looper was coming through. And I think that's the key for the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson is going to get away from your pass rush plenty often. You have to be prepared for that and how you structure your pass rush. And I think that's where it comes up to Spags and Joe Cullen to come up with this plan to where you always have somebody overlapping through the expected escape lane.
Well, and like exactly what the Lions did is probably not going to be the most replicable thing because the Lions just did it so successfully. Like you've got to have new ideas and fresh ideas to try to, keep Lamar Jackson on his toes. You have to have something different. You got to throw different things at him. You're talking about, hey, like having the spy ready to run to the anticipated escape side. Like the Bills ran that against the Chiefs and gets Patrick Mahomes a couple of years ago to great success. I think it's a little bit of everything. I think it's just kind of mixing things up a little bit. I don't know if the Chiefs have the dynamic enough personnel in the back seven that you feel great about who might be your spies, right? Like, I don't know if there's like a ton of players you're overly excited about being the spy in the back seven for this team anyway, unless I'll throw this guy out there. Do we think we see a little Jeff Bassa here? Do we see a little Jeffrey Bassa playing the and look, Dorian O'Daniel a few years ago did not have a defensive role whatsoever, except for when they played Lamar Jackson in the Baltimore Ravens. Bassa hasn't really seen the field on the defensive side of the ball this season. Maybe this is a week you have a little package for him to help spy Lamar Jackson, because I think from an athleticism perspective, like I think he's one of the better fits, I think, at the second level of the defense, at least for this.
Dust off the old 2020, 2021 Chiefs defensive playbook, right? And just plug Jeffrey Bassa into that role. Yeah, I think that's an option. I think you're going to get some reps where it's Drew Tranquill, some reps where it's Nick Bolton, Leo Chenal. Like, you got to mix it up. But I think that's the key. That's one of the things the Lions did that the Chiefs can replicate is your spy can't just be your Mike linebacker or your Will linebacker. Like, it can't be the same person over and over again. You have to mix it up. You might even flash two potential spies until one of them drops out later in the play. The whole point is you need Lamar Jackson to try to escape somewhere where you have help. So if you declare who the spy is early, he can't avoid them. He is more than athletic to do that. So mixing in Bassa is definitely an option. I think the other linebackers will get some run. A guy that's interesting to me in this role is Chamari Connor, because this last week against the Giants, he was playing the Justin Reed role. So he would be rolling down and playing essentially as your dime linebacker next to Nick Bolton, while they had two other safeties, Jaden Hicks and Brian Cook, or Jaden Hicks and Chris Rowland Wallace were playing deep. They used Connor in that kind of role. So I wonder if he's a guy that might even pull some spy reps out of this as well.
Another thing, I think the Lions did a little bit of spot dropping more than you're used to too, right? Like they spot dropped in zone coverage, but they did it to keep eyes on Lamar, right? So like they had a lot of eyes on Lamar while playing zone coverage, but Lamar kind of ate that up a little bit, honestly. Like he was doing a really good job of kind of eating some things up there. So like that was something that the Lions tried that, like, frankly, Lamar kind of, the rush, he escaped the rush, and because there was just a lot of gaps in that coverage, especially from between backer and safety, he found some really easy throwing lanes in the middle of that defense. That's something that I noticed as well.
Steve Spagnuolo mentioned stuff like that too. If you're going to spy every play or slow rush every play, that does impact your ability to get after the quarterback, and then you don't get to him as quickly, and then your coverage has to hold up longer. So like there is a push and pull if you were going to spy every single play, or if you're going to do the slow mush rush trying to collapse the pocket every play. Like Spags is aware. He even said that in his presser. Like, hey, there is a downside to doing this, trying to corral Lamar Jackson. Something that I do think that the Lions started to do late in that game to counteract that, and it helped that they were winning the game, so they were making the Ravens play from behind. They were rushing deep with their defensive ends. They were going deep up the arc, and Lamar Jackson's gotten to the point where he's kind of like Mahomes. When his initial drop isn't there, it's not open right away, he has no problems with drifting further and further back because he does have the arm talent to throw from deep, but he's also such a good athlete that if you let him get that running start, it makes him a lot more difficult to tackle, going if he gets a 5-yard head start into the pocket versus trying to go from a standstill. So the Lions rushed really deep off the edge, and when their defensive ends would get past Lamar, they were immediately putting their foot in the ground and spinning back inside or crossing over. So they planned to over-rush up the arc, counter back to the inside, hoping that the spy or the defensive tackles just holding their ground would slow him up enough. And I think that is something to maybe incorporate. Don't let Lamar get out of the pocket out the back end. You might want to rush a little bit deeper, which kind of sounds counterintuitive versus a mobile quarterback, but I do think we just saw the Lions have a lot of success with it. Caveat, they have Aiden Hutchinson. Chiefs don't.
Calling all Chiefs fans, you could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pre-game coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. You will hear from Matt Hamilton right after this.
What's up, guys? I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network, and I'm here to talk to Kansas City businesses. If you rely on technology, you need an IT support team that's not just another vendor, but a true IT partner. That's why I want to introduce you to my friend and neighbor, KJ Miller. He is a VCIO at ThrottleNet, the Midwest's highest rated and most reviewed IT support company. They've been in business for more than 25 years, helping companies stay secure, productive, and ahead of the curve. They aren't just IT support, but they provide data security, IT strategy, and cloud software services. They do it all, and their reviews show they do it better than anyone else. So if you want to hear about how ThrottleNet can help your local business, join the conversation with myself, KJ Miller from ThrottleNet, and our resident genius from KC Sports Network when it comes to IT, at least as he's affectionately known by us, Mr. Craig Stout. Click the link in the description to hear how ThrottleNet can help you.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned to what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Enterprise because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity because you won't be disappointed and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
The one thing I'm looking for this game, I'm double dipping here. I know I talked about it last week. I'm looking at that Chiefs run game to get going. And there were signs of life last week against the Giants. I think that's definitely the best they've run the football all year. Not that the bar was super high, but there were signs of life, especially from Pacheco. He did a better job running out of shotgun. He's still much, much better, much more dangerous running out of under center. But this Ravens defense right now, Madubuike is out for the game already. Most of the defensive line not practicing. Kyle Van Noy not practicing. And this defense is dead last in the NFL in pretty much every category. So it's now or never, I think, for this Chiefs run game. And I think it's going to be really important, especially in this matchup, because I think right now, I know Worthy might play. It's trending there. He's definitely going to give the passing game a little bit of a shot in the arm. But I don't think you can go into this with the mentality of we're getting into a shootout with the Ravens and trying to keep up with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and go shot for shot. I don't think that's the strategy that wins you this game. I think you're going to see a lot of light boxes. I think you want to try to keep the ball away from that offense as much as you possibly can. We really haven't seen anybody slow them down this year. So I think this run game needs to be leaned on a little bit more this week. And I don't know. I haven't seen the Ravens really stop anybody. I know Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are not exactly Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, but they're going to have opportunities to get some things done in the run game. And as I said, I do think it's now or never. If they don't get it going this week, it's time to get the Jets on the phone and make a call about Breece Hall. It's time to call up the Browns about Jerome Ford. There needs to be a shot in the arm here. And if they're not going to play Elijah Mitchell, they need to bring somebody else in because we've seen it for 2 years right now. Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are not getting it done. The Chiefs are going to need to establish some run game even when Rasheed's back. This can't be a one-dimensional offense. the way it's been at times in the past with the current construction, get the run game going, and it's got to start this week. And I think there's a good chance for it to start this week. So here it is. Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, get it done. Or Veach, it's time to make the call.
Beef of the Week sponsored by Batch Elder Family Farms. Look, when I was trying to think about what to talk about for this football game, there's a couple of areas and a couple of directions I usually try to go with Beef of the Week, right? If you guys are new here, it's kind of what's the biggest storyline leading up into a game is usually what I like to think about, like to talk about on Beef of the Week. And obviously, I love talking O-line. I love talking the trenches. I love talking D-line. I love talking everything about those hog mollies up front. So, there's a lot of beef up front. There's a lot of things to talk about with that. But I think one thing that we got to talk about in this football game is the surrounding narratives, the surrounding storylines with this football game. It's September. There's still plenty of football left to play, but both of these football teams are 1-2. Both of these football teams have an expectation to be at the top of the AFC. Both of these football teams come into the season with Super Bowl expectations, and both of these football teams have started 1-2. While they're in kind of some similar places, I've talked about this on some of the other shows that I've done this week as well. While they're in some similar places, the vibes could not be more different with these two football teams. The Ravens' 2 losses have been catastrophic, to say the least, blowing a huge lead to the Buffalo Bills. A catastrophic collapse against the Lions on Monday Night Football. They could not be in a worse place, I think, vibes-wise. Their one win is against a Cleveland Browns team that was a very, very ugly win. That they just kind of turned it on a little bit in the fourth quarter. It seems like that they just kind of outweared that Browns team. Good. I mean, that's what you got to do. The Chiefs, their one win coming against the New York Giants. That first half of football, not the greatest half of football that's ever been played. I don't think it's going on anyone's highlight tape, truthfully. But they were coming off back-to-back losses, hanging in there with an Eagles football team that is 3-0. An Eagles football team that I think we all agree is probably better than this Ravens team. Hang on to that one for a second. We'll get back to that. This is a team that has improved since week 1. This is a team that has improved since week 2, and a team that has improved since the first half of last week. I think that's important coming into this game. The vibes could not be more different while the situations are so similar. I think that that's what's so interesting about this matchup, guys. That's what I think is going to be interesting. It is rare that you get a football game in September with this much at stake. It's rare. And we're going to have it at Arrowhead Stadium. GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. We're going to have it. The other aspect to this is these two teams, they got a beef. These two teams got a beef. You're looking at a team that has not been able to get it done against Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson, 5 football games against the Kansas City Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes, he is 1-5 in those football games. The one game that Lamar Jackson and company won on the road, Chiefs on the road, in Baltimore, 2-minute warning happens. All the Chiefs got to do, run the clock out, and they win. All they got to do, run the clock out, they can win. They're in field goal range. They can hit a nice, easy chip shot, field goal, take home the dub. They get an untimely Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumble. The Ravens are able to take care of business. All right? They got him there. But that's the one win that the Ravens have. You look at the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago with the Chiefs and the Ravens. The Chiefs got them to play uncharacteristic football on their end. And I don't think there is a coordinator in football that is better in a one-game circumstance than Steve Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo has been able to keep a lid on Lamar Jackson. He's been able to keep a lid on Derrick Henry. Those are two of the, obviously, this is the two biggest threats that the Baltimore Ravens have coming into this game against this Chiefs defense. Secondary is playing a whole lot better. The defense has played a whole lot better from when they first started against the Los Angeles Chargers. When I see the narrative nationally about this football game, guys, I don't understand. I don't understand why people are painting these Baltimore Ravens to be this indestructible football team. This football team that is destined to make the Super Bowl. This football team that is destined to win all these games. I don't see it, guys. And maybe we'll play this back and I'll be so wrong. That's probably what'll happen, right? This game will be a close game. That's what happens when these two teams play football games. It'll be a close game. The margins are so small. But I know when it comes down to it, if I'm playing a game in the margins and I want to win a game in the margins, I want Patrick Mahomes. I want Andy Reid. I don't want the coach, John Harbaugh, that has blown the most double-digit leads since the 2010s. I still like my shot with Andy Reid. I still like my shot with Patrick Mahomes. And maybe the Chiefs are just one of those teams that play the Baltimore Ravens really well and match up really well with them, and that's okay. I don't think, guys, I can take the Ravens until I see them do it against the Chiefs. I know they were a toe away in the season opener last year. But guess what? They still didn't get it done. They didn't get it done. The Chiefs get it done. That's the beef. These two teams, they got a beef. That's the beef of the week. Presented by Batchelder Family Farms. Appreciate Brad and Jenna out there at Batchelder Family Farms. I'll be out back there next week. Who knows what crazy farm animals I'll get into. I think they got pigs out there. I think I could be out there with the pigs next week. That would be pretty sick. Maybe I should save that for Commanders Week when I get in there in the pig pen. That could be pretty cool. Let's keep this 5 things rolling, though. Let's keep it going. I got to talk to Benny Heist. Benny Heist is up next. He's going to give us our picks on this game. Wildly interesting game. Chiefs home dogs again. You can get that at plus money right now at our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. Benny, what you got for us, man?
Hey, what is happening? It is Ben Heisler, KCSN sports betting analyst. Got some thoughts on the Chiefs matchup this week at home against Baltimore. Again, Chiefs home dogs for the second time this year. Right now at DraftKings Sportsbook, the Chiefs plus 2.5 at near even money for this game against Baltimore at home. Total sitting at 48.5. We're going to dive into that matchup coming up in just a second, as well as a play. But for those of you that are on the Missouri side, wait, it's almost over, you guys. I promise. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming so soon to the Show Me State. You can actually sign up today. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets once DK Sportsbook launches on December 1st. You download the app now, place a $5 bet once you go live, and you can get yourself that $300 in bonus bets. It's got everything you need, whether you love in-game betting, you love the touchdown props, anything else. So many different ways to get in on the action. And when you go live in Missouri, you're going to be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. So let's break down this game for a second. You got the Ravens coming off a short week, mind you, with this game likely going to 3. We're seeing minus 120 at Ravens, minus 2.5 on the road in Kansas City. The Chiefs plus 2.5 at even odds. We're seeing 88% of the money on DraftKings coming towards the Ravens as a road favorite compared to just 12% of the money for the Chiefs. And the total in this game right now over 48.5 is getting just 27% of the money and 63% of the bets. So a lot of money coming in on the under at 48.5 at 73% of the money and just 37% of the bets. Now, there are a few things that are working in favor of Kansas City in this game. You got Lamar and his documented struggles against Kansas City. He's just 1-5 straight up and 2-4 against the spread in head-to-head games against Mahomes.
The Ravens' best win in the Reid Mahomes era has come by just a single point against the Chiefs. That was 36-35 back in 2021. Mahomes, I've talked about this before. Historically, he's been a really good underdog play, 12-3-1 against the spread, including 11-5 straight up. But he's actually already lost one of those games this year. That was week 2 against Philly. Maybe you can argue that the Chiefs deserve to win. Regardless, that's still a number that didn't live up to it this year. And when the Chiefs play a team on short rest in the Andy Reid Mahomes era, they're 18-3 straight up. The key for me is whether or not the Chiefs can run on Baltimore. Short week, Ravens rank dead last in the NFL in rushing yards allowed. Their defense has been picked apart all season long. They're also leading the league in rushing touchdowns allowed. That's going to be the key difference here, is whether the Chiefs can sustain some long drives, get Pacheco moving in the right direction, get some extra conversions on third down with Kareem Hunt. And when I think about the ideal ways to bet this game, seeing that much money come in on the Ravens scares me a little bit. I would take the Chiefs at +3. I think that's a good number to get, and that's likely the direction this game is going. But I'd rather get them at an even better number. And so my bet for this game is I'm going to use the Chiefs in a 2-team 6-point teaser over at DraftKings. I like the Chiefs going from +2.5 to +8.5. And then also taking the Texans, yes, the 0-3 Texans, who are at home against the 0-3 Titans, moving the Texans, which are a touchdown favorite at -7, down to -1 versus Tennessee. You combine those two together, you get the Chiefs at +8.5 at home against a team that they have constantly done a good job of beating in close games. And the Texans only have to win by 1 point or more against Tennessee. Combine those two together in a 6.2 team teaser. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Do it today. Use code KCSN to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet once everything goes live on December 1st. Again, KCSN is the code in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You must be 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after they're issued. That excludes customers who redeem their pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms available at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Appreciate Benny's picks there. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good action you can find over on DraftKings Sportsbook for this game. All right, let's bring in the closer. Let's turn the lights down. Let's dim them up. Let's get the ambiance set for Only Weird Games, bringing us home for this AFC clash. Josh, what you got for me?
Thank you, Tucker. Only Weird Games. All three of us here to talk about one big thing for Chiefs Ravens. Fellas, it's still not full strength because we still know Rashee Rice has a while before he gets back, but it's looking good for Xavier Worthy. The official word's going to have to come down a little bit later, but as we do this right now, we're very optimistic about Xavier Worthy's workload. Then how does the rest of that all mesh together? Nate, I'll start with you. I also think it's interesting this week, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes both even talked a little bit about the benefit of getting more game reps with Hollywood. Obviously, Mahomes knows Juju quite well, but he's stayed in the mix as they've had to kind of patch up these things. Tyquan Thornton, obviously, a huge part of that as well. What do you make of the wide receiver room, presumably getting Xavier Worthy back for the Ravens game?
Yeah, and I think as of right now, Xavier Worthy could play as much as half the snaps on Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. So that'll be a welcomed addition to the offense because he's a part of the game plan. He can run routes alongside Hollywood Brown and Tyquan Thornton in particular. The Chiefs like to have usually a 5 receiver sort of rotation. So it'll be interesting to see if Jalen Royals is available or even in uniform for this game, given he has yet to actually take his his first NFL snap. But I do think that this is going to be beneficial for Tyquan Thornton because he doesn't have to be the sole guy that's running most of, if not all, the deep routes. And it can even be helpful to guys like Hollywood Brown. Obviously, we know Travis Kelce's going to be in the mix. But I think now Patrick Mahomes at least has 4 guys that he can sort of trust in the receiving room and maybe have someone like Nico Remigio or Jalen Royals in the mix as well.
Seth, you've written about this. We've talked about it a lot. Now that there is at least one more tool in the toolbox, maybe a chance for a little more specialization from some of the other pass catchers.
Absolutely. With Worthy back, you can maybe an easy example would be at the end of the game, the Chiefs were trying to run up the clock against the Giants, right? They ran the ball a couple times and then took a play action deep shot, which, by the way, given the amount of time left, the timeouts, I actually I respect it because you're trying to dagger and end the game. I get it. Those yards were worth more than the potential timeout. So, but it was Hollywood Brown and he couldn't run away quite as much. And Mahomes kind of undershot it too. But you can see Brown just doesn't burn quite the way Xavier Worthy does. He doesn't really separate deep the way that Thornton does. And Brown can run, but that's never been, he is a guy that can separate deep, but he's at his best intermediate levels. Juju Smith-Schuster's at his best, shallow against zone, running route combos, yards after catch. With Worthy back, you really can say, okay, we've got 4 guys that we trust to do certain things and do them pretty well. And there's an argument to be made that you can really run a lot of 3 receiver sets that if you're comfortable with it, with Thornton taking the top off, having Worthy and Brown work either deep or intermediate. I love the idea of trying to bust up quarters with 2 deep routes. Like that's one way to do it with guys on the same side of the field. That's one way to bust up quarters is because you've got 2 guys deep, right? With quarters. One way to bust that up, have Xavier Worthy in the slot and Tyquan Thornton next to him saying one's running a post and one's running a go. And I bet you one of your guys can't keep up. I would love to see a lot of that. And then in the meantime, utilize Brown more on those intermediate ins, outs, comebacks, stuff that he won a lot with in Arizona and in Baltimore that really is more of his bread and butter as a route runner, despite his long speed. He really is at his best at the intermediate levels. I would love to see that kind of usage. With Thornton showing himself to be a really useful deep threat, right now, I would say a legitimately useful to good deep threat. And we're knocking on the door of very good deep threat because he's behind the defense a ton. That really does open up some things with Xavier Worthy's usage they did not have on the table last year because there was no one else that could open things up deep. So I think this is really a chance. Hey, Worthy, you've been working on your route running. He was a really good intermediate route runner in Texas. Let's see it. So I'm excited for it as they ease him back in. They've got an opportunity to really get some things cooking and see what everyone can do for the next couple weeks until Rice comes back.
We've got potentially the return of Xavier Worthy, hopefully a chance for all those guys to really kind of find their level, and as Seth just inferred there, the countdown clock to the return of Rashee Rice gets closer and closer. Can the offense still be above water by the time he gets back? Well, we've already asked our big question, so we'll let somebody else answer that sometime down the road. That's it for Only Weird Games. I get to send it right back to you, Tucker D. Franklin.
Well, all that's left is to play the football game. Chiefs-Ravens 3:25 going down there Central Time at Arrowhead Stadium. Good for the boys to be back at home. Football Sundays on the table. Should be an incredible matchup. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this football game to be played, and we will be live right after the game for the KCSN post-game show. Myself, Kent Swanson, Maddie Lane, breaking down everything that you need to know from the Chiefs-Ravens game. And boy, howdy, is there a lot of stakes for a September football game in this one. I'm Tucker Franklin. Thank you guys for sticking with us all the way until the end. We will be with you, as I mentioned, after the show, live on the KCSN YouTube channel. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video when we post it. Hit the notification bell to be notified when we go live, right when that final whistle sounds. So, that's going to do it. We'll be back with you very, very soon. And hopefully we're talking after a Chiefs victory over the Baltimore Ravens. I'll see you then.